Scientists have at last disclosed what lies at the bottom of the Oak Island money grave. It's similar to a traditional tale about concealed riches and traps, but with a twist. Despite the fact that we know precisely where the treasure is concealed, recovering it has proven to be an arduous task. In most instances, the greatest difficulty in locating buried treasure is in locating it. In this case, however, it is retrieving it that poses the greatest challenge. Numerous individuals have theorized and attempted to solve this issue, but no one has yet been successful. The mystery encircling Oak Island and its fabled lost wealth has attracted countless treasure hunters for over 2 centuries, but scientists have now revealed what is at the bottom of the Oak Island money pit. Despite the efforts of numerous people, including notable figures such as Franklin D. Roosevelt, Errol Flynn, and John Wayne, the treasure remained stubbornly buried in the earth, resulting in the deaths of several people. In 1795, a man named Daniel McGinnis discovered a strange circular depression on an uninhabited island off the coast of Nova Scotia. McGinnis, a fan of the genre, decided to investigate the depression after hearing rumors that Captain Kidd had buried 2 million pounds of treasure east of Boston. The following day, McGinnis and his companions returned to the site and began excavating. Initially, the ground was very soft, but after roughly 3 meters, they struck something solid. It was a piece of oak, not a hoard of gold. Initially, this did not appear to be much, but as the men delved deeper, they discovered another plank, and then another. Along the sidewalls of the trench they were excavating, they also observed what appeared to be pick and shovel marks. Someone excavated and then filled in the trench many years ago. Due to the island's size and isolation, it is highly unlikely that someone dug such a large and deep grave for any purpose other than to conceal something of great value. The search for the missing treasure of Captain Kidd had officially begun. However, despite vertically descending the equivalent of 3 stories, no treasure was discovered. The workers ran out of resources, time, equipment, and people, and gave up constructing the massive hole in the earth, henceforth referred to as the Money Pit. The Money Pit on Oak Island had attracted treasure hunters from all over the world, despite the fact that excavation had been abandoned following a failed initial attempt. In 1802, 30 men from the neighboring hamlet of Onslaught arrived with shovels and pickaxes and began excavating the ditch, making it deeper than it had been previously. Approximately 27 meters in depth, they discovered a large stone engraved with a cipher that, when deciphered, would disclose a hidden message, as well as wooden platforms spaced at 3-meter intervals. 10 feet down, 2 million pounds are concealed. However, disaster struck just as it appeared that Captain Kidd's treasure had been found. The Onslaught personnel returned to the money pit one morning to discover that it had been completely submerged by 18 meters of water. Due to this strange and unanticipated event, the extracted shaft is now useless and cannot be used for further excavation. The Onslaught's troops, undeterred by their defeats, resolved to dig a shaft parallel to the money pit in order to access the treasure from the side. The fact that the second shaft also filled rendered their efforts futile and compelled them to abandon their goal. Another determined search for Captain Kidd's concealed treasure did not commence for nearly 50 years. In 1849, a team from Toro arrived and redigged the 2 holes that the Onslaught crew had dug. The water filled the openings once more, rendering their efforts futile. The Toro firm observed an anomaly that the Onslaught crew did not notice. A portion of the water in the pits was mildly salty, and its level appeared to vary with the tide. This suggested that seawater was finding its way into the money pit, which was located approximately 40 meters inland. Following a search of the island's shores, the crew discovered the beginning of a small canal that led to the money pit, which was located deep below. This was the first indication of the odd, unexplainable events that would plague the search for Captain Kidd's wealth. The treasure hunters were determined to obtain Captain Kidd's loot, but the discovery of the mined flood system was a significant setback. Despite the apparent value of whatever was at the bottom of the hole, accessing it was exceedingly difficult due to the elaborate security measures in place. The Toro crew dug numerous shafts to approach the pit from a variety of directions, but their efforts were frequently thwarted by water and sudden cave-ins. They were ultimately compelled to abandon their search for the treasure, forever altering the allure of Oak Island. Since then, swarms of people have flocked to Oak Island in the hopes of excavating the money pit's buried riches. Over the past 170 years, countless explorers have flocked to Oak Island in quest of the rumored legendary treasure buried at the bottom of the money pit. Some have attempted to avoid the complex booby traps in the flood tunnels, while others have dug ditches on other parts of the island, frequently at the cost of human life and spawning fanciful rumors of a curse. In spite of the development of ever more advanced instruments, such as steam pumps in the 1860s and divers in 1909, treasure hunters have attempted and failed throughout history. Even though they sent apparatus for digging and divers to the island in 1909, the old gold salvage gang was a significant coin find suggests treasure in a recent episode of The Curse of Oak Island. Could this be how Oak Island's wealth would be discovered? The mystery surrounding the riches on Oak Island may finally have an answer thanks to this. The homestead that was previously owned by Samuel Ball is located on Lot 25. Rick and Gary are concentrating their efforts there in the most recent episode of The Curse of Oak Island. Even though they are only permitted to dig in the areas that have been marked with flags, their exciting discovery is a copper coin as a result of their efforts. The finding of this relic supports the theory that Samuel Ball may have discovered something of great worth while he was on the island. As Rick and Gary continue their search, they are ecstatic and anxiously anticipating the finding of further diamonds that have been hidden beneath the surface because they have recently uncovered a significant coin discovery that indicates the presence of riches. The homestead that belonged to Samuel Ball is located on Lot 25, and Rick and Gary continue their inspection of the property. Only targets designated with flags in advance are permitted for them to dig up. They find a copper coin while they are digging, which is a good sign given how regularly enormous copper coins have been found on Oak Island. This finding adds fuel to the fire of the rumor mill and increases the probability that Samuel Ball found anything of value on the island. They are overjoyed with the discovery and eager to see what more treasures their labors may turn up. In the 4th episode of the 7th season of the program, The Lucky 13, Gary Drayton and Charles Barkhouse revisit Lot 21 to see if they can learn anything new there. They actually do manage to locate a couple. A British halfpenny coin from the 1800s is the first thing they find. The next item they find is a brooch with a detailed design of a rope and a leaf. Following his thorough cleaning of the brooch, Marty Lagina will take some time to count the number of branches on the leaf. Total, there are 13 of them. This is a reference to the final season of Lost and Founding episode Lost and Founding, where the group found the Appeal to Heaven banner. The ships that carried the flag were owned by George Washington. A pine tree with 13 distinct branches was shown in the artwork. A carving of a tree with 13 branches has been carved into a rock on the northern side of Oak Island. The Knights Templar are thought to have some link to the number 13, which is thought to have some form of significance and is already closely associated with many of the relics found on Oak Island. In the 11th episode of the 9th season of The Curse of Oak Island, titled A Boatload of Clues, metal detector expert Gary Drayton is joined by treasure seeker Michael John. They are extending their search in the area around the island's shore in the hopes of uncovering even more of Oak Island's hidden gems. Drayton and John eventually locate a large coin that they assume was produced in the 17th century throughout the course of their thorough investigation. This coin is comparable to a number of other coins Drayton has found during the course of the lengthy 9-season run of the program. Could this coin be a little piece of a much larger hidden treasure? Pirates, Spaniards, Egyptians, soldiers from the British military, or Knights Templar who carried the coin to Oak Island? It's possible that with more study and continued excavation, all of these mysteries unable to break Oak Island's curse. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the future president of the United States, is rumored to have been a member of the original Gold Savage group and to have been fascinated by its mystery throughout his entire existence. Errol Flynn and John Wayne, two of Hollywood's greatest stars of the 1930s, donated money to multiple expeditions. According to legend, King George VI of England instructed 2 treasure hunters to submit their finds. Despite numerous searches, the treasures of Oak Island have evaded discovery. Rick and Marty Lagina, brothers who were filming their treasure search on Oak Island for the History Channel, were in charge. The fact that this is the 9th season of the program could be indicative of how successful their quest has been thus far. The siblings have unearthed a variety of intriguing artifacts, such as money, weapons, and jewelry, but they have yet to find Captain Kidd's legendary loot. The longer one searches without discovering the treasure, the more reasonable it becomes to question its very existence. The story should be regarded as a myth, despite the fact that many people have searched for his riches. The discovery of evidence that Daniel McGinnis had discovered the money pit in the 1790s did not occur until 1857. In addition, the account differs based on the cited source. There is little evidence to suggest that Captain Kidd concealed valuables on Oak Island, and the popular conception of pirates is wholly fictitious. Walking the plank and other stereotypes, such as parrots and prosthetic legs, are not supported by substantial evidence. The portrayal of Robin Newton as Long John Silver in the 1950 film adaptation of Treasure Island also contributed to the mythologizing of the infamous pirate incident. Contrary to conventional belief, there is only one well-documented case of a pirate actually burying treasure, and it wasn't them, Captain William Kidd. Be sure to stay informed and subscribe for more information on recent discoveries and findings. On Gardner Island, 500 miles away, Kidd buried his wealth, which was discovered less than a year later and used as evidence in his trial and execution. However, it is also conceivable that Kidd hid treasure on Oak Island. Why would Kidd, or any pirate for that matter, go through the trouble of excavating a 30-meter deep booby-trapped pit to conceal treasure if the objective was merely to keep anything valuable secure? A few meters would have sufficed, correct? Even if Kidd did bury wealth on Oak Island, it is likely lost forever due to the inability of modern technology, such as ground-penetrating radar, to discover it. In 1995, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution conducted a scientific investigation of Oak Island to locate any concealed treasure. As a result of their investigation, the crew came to the disappointing details about the origin and importance of the spike might become available. Carmen has revealed that the iron spike found in the B4C shaft is actually a rock drill, a device that was used throughout the Middle Ages. When Carmen connects this in, but the truth is that some of the most intriguing finds in the Curse of Oak Island aren't precisely what some of us would perceive to be treasure. Possible candidates for the treasure's connection to the island include the infamous Scottish pirate Captain Kidd, who lived in the 17th century, the English playwright William Shakespeare, and the Knights Templar, a medieval order of holy warriors who amassed enormous wealth and power and were thought to have hidden the fabled Holy Grail. Henry V, the author of English plays, is one of the further candidates. Without respect to the origin of the treasure, the story of how it ended up on the island and how it was hidden there is shrouded in mystery. Since the island's history of treasure hunting has been mostly preserved through rumor and speculation, it has been challenging to tell the difference between fact and fiction over the centuries that have gone. Further, it's likely that in an effort to confuse others, treasure hunters have disseminated incorrect information. Historical dinnerware, an odd piece of parchment paper, and drill bits with gold flecks on them were just a few of the items that prior treasure hunters had uncovered in the pit's depths. Most recently, these finds were made by the Laginas, who were also treasure hunters. Along with these items, they have found piles of coconut fiber, pieces of wood, and stones that may have been used in the attempt to booby-trap the hole. Stones and wood chips are a few of these items. Similar to the last example, there is evidence that implies earlier treasure seekers made an effort to hinder the flow of water in their pursuit for the hidden treasures. The most intriguing artifacts found in the crypt include several coins, some of which are from the 16th century, several gold links, and a stone with indecipherable inscriptions that has confounded treasure hunters and scholars for more than 2 centuries. There's a chance the crypt holds all of these relics. Many people who search for wealth believe they have found the money pit's big vault, which is a large vault that is more than 100 feet deep. In and around the pit, most of the artifacts that have been discovered so far have more historical value than monetary value. While some items hint at brand new puzzles, certain objects offer tantalizing hints to treasures that have not yet been found. Having fun so far with this video? Did you already sign up? By doing this right away, you will receive more updates on great discoveries and a notification when the next post is available. According to a letter made by treasure hunter Jotham B. Macaulay in the middle of the 19th century, a previous miner allegedly discovered a stone in the pit in the year 1804, at a depth of around 90 feet. Between 12 and 16 inches wide and 2 to 3 feet long, the stone is a rough rectangle. It does not like any local rock, but instead seems to be a dark, olive-hued Swedish granite. The cryptic symbols engraved on the stone have sparked a lot of debate about how they should be understood. The letters of the English alphabet were allegedly intended to be represented by the symbols etched into the stone, according to one view. According to one interpretation of the phrase, it may be translated as 40 feet below 2 million pounds are buried. While other academics believe it was meant to represent France, they also believe the symbols were somehow connected to the Knights Templar. A local myth claims that the wealth won't be found until 7 persons have died looking for it, according to the Oak Island Compendium, an online research collection. There is no recorded documentation, however, that can explain who first put the curse on the treasure in this way, or even if the treasure was ever cursed, similar to the many other myths that are connected with the island. 6 people have died so far while attempting to find the money. It is pretty obvious that the Lagena brothers are prioritizing their own safety while they investigate, despite the fact that this apparent curse is said to hang over them. New discovery is shocking and astounded scientists. For additional information, watch the video after this one. Information to specific swedges that the researchers detected 2 years earlier. The excitement level increases. It turns out that one application for the swedges was to smooth the rock drill's edges. The rock drill, which is used to drill rocks or break up large boulders, is sometimes seen as an important antiquity due to its resemblance to drills employed in the Middle Ages. The money pit's presence on Oak Island gives rise to intriguing rumors about its past and the whereabouts of its hidden treasure. The crew members wonder if this object is another evidence that they are getting close to the fabled riches. The rock drill has historical significance since it might be linked to the original building of the money pit, which in turn could provide crucial information regarding the tools and methods employed during that first construction. The team's recent findings, which include the stone-paved section in the marsh and the ancient stone road, have further heightened the enthusiasm around the exploration of Oak Island's hidden areas. As they eliminate suspects, there is an increasing sense of intrigue about what might be hidden in the money hole. The Lagena brothers express gratitude for the team's assistance and reaffirm their conviction that the island has the potential to produce gold. They have combined conventional excavation techniques with a hunt for pertinent information as a result of their unwavering tenacity. The Oak Island enigma has been solved to an unparalleled degree as a result of everyone's diligence and Charles and Billy's leadership. With the best of intentions, a group of young people began digging on Oak Island, but things quickly turned terrifying. The treasure hunters hoped they had discovered a genuinely extraordinary find from the age of piracy when they discovered man-made stones and planks. However, as they continued to descend, their excitement gave way to terror as they came across more and more boards that were covering a dangerous object underneath them. The story does not end there, though, since there are still more discoveries to be made. They tried for a very long period but gave up at a depth of 20 feet. The excavation team found increasingly unsettling objects at regular intervals of 10 feet. As one advanced through the levels, new platforms and weird items were constantly exposed, which contributed to the growing unease. But the true dread struck when they were around 90 feet below the surface. Among the treasures found was a weirdly inscribed stone, but the most terrifying revelation was left until last. What they observed was a tunnel that led directly into a pit loaded with traps. Don't forget to subscribe and enable post notifications to be notified as soon as the new post is published. Everyone pondered the reasons that could have led to the creation of such a deadly trap. The implications of this discovery gave them chills and placed a gloomy shadow over their efforts because they appeared to be intended to entice naive people to their watery death. The Oak Island team continued searching for the rumored wealth despite the terrible conditions, unconcerned. They dug down exactly 90 feet, at which point they made a huge find and advancement in the money pit region by discovering several signs of silver and gold. This information has sparked interest in both the possibility of finding the original money pit, as well as a tunnel leading to a nearby treasure room. The stakes were higher than ever as the team fought on, and the entire world held its breath. The crew's determination to learn the truth did not falter despite the crew's and the audience's confusion at the mysterious findings on Oak Island. The chance of obtaining the gold and the desire to learn the island's secrets have drawn generations to the tale. Humans were ultimately put to the test by the terrible discovery of Oak Island, which drove them to the limits of their curiosities and bravery. Finding the treasure represented persistence in the face of difficulty, as well as a dedication to broadening one's horizons and thoughts. Despite the numerous unresolved concerns surrounding the trap and the Oak Island team's relentless search served as a reminder that certain secrets are worth risking all to uncover. At the conclusion of the season, everyone was optimistic. Because of the group's persistent conviction that gold was lurking just below the surface and their tenacious persistence, there was cautious optimism about a potential find. In space, strange resistance and force have been found. To learn more, see the video after this one.